Welcome back to the Cantina, ladies and gentlemen, where the conversation is always hot, but unfortunately your hosts most definitely are not. I am Kyle, one of those said hosts, joined by Cam Clark and Shockey. Michael Connolly here at the GenreVerse. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the GenreVerse, which should be on your screen, but you missed where I said it's been a while. It's been a while, so there you go. The GenreVerse YouTube channel, part of LRM Online. Go lrmonline.com, of course, for all entertainment news, needs, opinions. Lots of anime reactions, trailer reactions, podcasts covering anything and everything you can imagine in geek, pop culture, entertainment available on the YouTube channel. That's why you should subscribe, like, share, leave thumbs up or down. Let us know why in the comments. And yeah, if you like listening to podcasts, our podcasts go up on all your favorite podcast apps. And we do have merch available, which I have to turn off the dark mode because for some reason Redbubble won't work with the dark mode, and so I got to get blinded by this bright light. But hey, look, there's the beautiful merch link in the description box down below. It's been a while, guys. We've actually kind of got a slightly different setup on the overlay. If this is your first time watching us, welcome. If you guys are old fans, hi again. It's been a while. How's everyone doing? Cam, you got a new computer, new webcam. A new mic. You actually sound even better than before.
Or worse than before, depending on your point of view and how you feel about my dodgy accent. So.
Shockey, how you been, man? Since Ahsoka.
I'm doing good. Yeah, just finally got some Star Wars news to talk about, so it's good.
Yeah, we do. There's been a lot. We've been meaning to come back for a few weeks because starting right before Thanksgiving, there was a bunch of news ranging from Mr. Filoni getting a new job to some stuff dealing with movies and lineup changes, some official, some maybe not so official. We'll get into some of that later, but we wanted to take a chance, come back, talk about the state of Star Wars, post-Ahsoka, post all of the 2023 shows that we've gotten, and dip our toes back into that galaxy far, far away, since it's going to be a while before we get to visit it again, right? How are you feeling, Shockey? You're generally more positive in this realm than Cam or I. You're coming hot off the heels of Ahsoka. It's been a couple months. How are you feeling about Star Wars, man?
Kind of a mixed bag here. It was not necessarily 100% let down from the ending of Ahsoka, but just kind of, there's no real general direction where we're going in Star Wars. It's kind of like we're behind the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon and we do not know where we're going. We're just cruising along left, right. It's not good, not great. We could end up being something great. Well, what do we get? We get the Acolyte next year and Skeleton Crew. That's it. We get, basically what kind of Marvel's doing now, if Feige's doing, and I think it's Bob Iger as a whole of Disney is just slowing it down, trying to focus more on quality, not quantity. So I'm happy about that, because if it's all about quality and we're getting better products, I'm okay with it. But at the same time, if it's the same old, I'm losing my faith in the pathway of Disney and Lucasfilm. We've been hyped up on so many video games supposedly coming out, and over the past 2 years, we're not getting into those anytime soon. There's been a couple.
Outlaw's not going to come out in 2024, man. I bet you freaking. I won't say I bet.
Yeah,
but
there's
GTA 6
right
might come out before Outlaws does.
I believe it. I mean, no more remake of Knights of the Old Republic. What was the Star Wars first? It was like a battle royale game kind of.
Yeah, that one got shut down a while ago, man.
Yeah, they went into beta testing, then they got delayed, and now it's completely gone. The Star Wars Eclipse, I don't think we're ever going to see the light of day of that. It's just so
a waste of money.
Yeah, I mean,
there is rumored to be an Xbox exclusive game in development at the moment, but
if it is great, if it. I would be happy, even though I don't own an Xbox, I'd still be happy with it, because at least there is a Star Wars game. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes every single day, but it would be nice to have something else to play, because Battlefront 2 is I swear that is the community that just keeps on going, you know. But that's where it is. It's kind of like we were hyped up for 2 to 3 years of we're gonna get all these things, and we didn't, you know. And so it's
yeah. Cam, man, you're often a lot like I am, a little bit more pessimistic. You and I really only have one thing to really, really look forward to, and that's Andor Season 2, which is not coming next year.
Yep.
How are you feeling, even though it was, anyways, we'll talk about that later. How are you feeling about Star Wars, man?
Well, I mean, the next year of Star Wars is pretty much going to come down to two shows. Unless you count, I think we might get
Tales of the Jedi or something.
Yeah, there may be something like that. You know, some
Bad Batch probably.
I think there is. I mean, there's a Bad Batch Season 3 in development. I don't know if it's coming next year. I've not heard anything about that, but it's certainly in development and it's coming. But I think live action wise, what we're really looking at is the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. And Skeleton Crew, like you, Kyle, I'm not. I'm not going to dismiss it. I'll give it a shot, but I'm not that excited for it. It's not really ticking any of my boxes for something that's going to get me going in terms of I'm excited to see that. Acolyte a little bit differently. I kind of am, because it's something a little bit out there. It's a little bit different, and in terms of the era that it's set in, being so long ago, it's the furthest back we'll have been in Star Wars to this point. And the galaxy is a very different place. On screen, yeah. Live action specifically. And therefore that excites me. It might not be any good, so I don't know, but I'm excited and hopeful that it will be good. That's the hope. I guess we shall just have to wait and see. Skeleton Crew doesn't excite me, but again, I hope it'll be good. But pretty much for me, it's going to be about what happens next in the movie realm. What films next? If it's going to be the Rey sequel that we've heard a little bit about recently. Will that film next year? It's looking like it, to be honest. So that's probably the next Star Wars film we'll see. And that's kind of more important to me right now, because that's where Star Wars home is for me. And, you know, it's been nice and it's been fun to have these little adventures on Disney Plus, but they are lower budget. They are, you know, not quite the level of necessarily of being a movie, other than Andor, which was fantastic.
We still got the Mayfield Mando in the cafeteria in the dining facility. Scene.
I mean, really,
that was brilliant.
Half of Mando season 1, starting the end, was great. Mando season 2, I thought was great. Mando season 3, I didn't think was that great, but it's some decent elements to it, but it just wasn't as good.
Andor was good.
I didn't much care for Obi-Wan. I didn't much care for Book of Boba Fett, apart from the 2 Mando episodes in it, which were fantastic, actually. And what else did we have?
Ahsoka.
It was the recent one, Ahsoka, which...
What was that?
I thought it was a bit pish, to be honest. I thought it was a bit boring.
That was the most glorious thing ever. We got hate. Oh my God! The
Hayden bits the best.
I think they were fine. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they were bad. I'm saying what people were focused on. What made them say this was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And the people that keep giving revisionist history that he is some sort of good actor, and I'm not necessarily talking about this. Hayden Christensen announced, or it was announced, that he had like signed with New Representation or something, made moves that makes it seem like he might get back into acting a little bit more regularly.
I've seen worse actors as well, though.
I've seen worse too, but now name something he's been good in. Like, name something he acted well in, and you can only name a few things. And
what did you
Jumper's
say?
A trash movie.
What was it? Jumpers that he was in?
Yeah, I mean, that was a trash movie. It was
kind of one of those films where what was he supposed to do with that?
I know, but even with some of the lines, and
I've never seen him be good in anything.
Even some of the lines in Kenobi was just not good.
I mean, I like him in
Anyways.
limited capacity as Anakin. Like he's
Okay.
coming back as a Force ghost. He can do a role here and there. I don't mind it. At the
No, we
moment.
don't need any more.
Whether I
See,
would
that's
want to watch
that's
him in another series, I don't know.
and that's where we come into kind of like my feelings on it is much like how Marvel is starting to become, where it's just not for me. The stories they're telling, I don't care to see or hear, read on any level, just about in any medium. And not all because I disagree with the direction, but some of the stuff might be fine. I just don't care for it, you know. Star Wars has embraced the Clone Wars and the Rebels world and cartoony style and more eccentric story elements.
The Filoni
for
stories.
Star Wars. Yeah, and I didn't like some of those crazy things and the power creep stuff that we got in the old EU, but I'm left with the only thing I'm really looking forward to is Andor. Like, I don't even care for the movies right now. Like, I don't give two crap after seeing with Mando season 1 and 2, before Ahsoka showed us a kind of limp version of Thrawn. I was kind of excited about the idea of the Mando movie. Nope, not anymore. I don't think Rey is the person we should be pinning our cinematic Star Wars hopes on either. And while I'm looking,
Rey can be a good character.
What about
she can.
There's
But
nothing in those
does
sequels
it?
that
But
you
does it
can
make?
say it's
But
Rey's a
does it
bad
make
character or
money?
Daisy
That's what I'm
Ridley didn't do a
saying.
good job.
Does it make money? I don't know that you
They have
pin the
to-
hopes
they have to try
of Star
something.
Wars on her, though. Business wise, I don't think
Well,
that's the
Are
smartest
you
move.
excited
What
about
would
the
you do? What
the
would
movie
you
that's
do? Would you what would be the next step that you would take? And I know
The
you're
one set in the past.
Are you
Yes.
excited about that one?
thousands of the first view. But
I-
would you just never do anything with Rey
I don't
or
think
anything
if-
while they're of that age? No.
I would read it. I would age it, not as much as they wanted to in that alleged, script leak or whatever back when
Yeah,
the
David
old writers
Lindelof
were
version,
not necessarily
It would have
that
been a
much
different
aged,
actor playing Rey. Yeah.
but it would have been a bit, and it would have been some real time distance before we touched that era again, or at least touched it with her as a lead, having her be coming in and out while there's other smaller stories like a Rogue Squadron where you age that up to the new Republic era, the post First Order
Which
era.
we thought was what they were
You
going
could
to
do that. I could cope with that where she popped, but making her centric, I don't think it's the business move. The 1,000 years past thing, or 10,000 years, 100,000 years. Am I excited? No, because I don't know if it'll actually ever happen. If I actually start seeing things from it, and it doesn't have the name Palpatine or Skywalker anywhere freaking near it.
Well,
sure.
the one that's
I'll get
supposedly
somewhat
it's the first
excited.
Jedi, right? It's the third movie that they announced they're doing.
Allegedly.
No, it's not allegedly. I mean, they're in works on it. And that one. So it's Rey,
Yeah,
Mando.
it's
It's the Rey movie.
at that
It's-
script level at the
it's-
moment.
It's
Any
Rey.
of them could be canceled.
Well, yeah. Any of these things could be canceled any moment and stuff. But those
That's
are the
what I'm
three.
saying, man.
Those are the three
Yeah.
that are. So does that get you excited? We know that Rey
No.
doesn't get you excited, Mando.
No.
So the story about the first Jedi doesn't get you excited whatsoever.
No, and honestly, because I think that's going too far back. I don't need. That's origins of Han Solo, origins of Joker, origins of there. I don't need to see. It is better to have some mystery still before we start the stories. I don't think going back, and I know it isn't necessarily there. I'm guessing there's going to be other users out there, and it's not like a literal first thing to ever use the Force. It's the start of Jedi
right, it's
and
the start
stuff
of the
like
Jedi
that.
Order,
I
right?
don't know.
I don't need to see that part of it. I don't want that much of the mythos explored. You go back super early to the early days, sure, but I don't know, man. I don't like it when everything gets explained. Like, then I'm the anime fan, which is notorious for over explaining everything. I think Star Wars can miss the mark on some of that. Han Solo's movie being
You're right.
prime
You're right.
example.
However, you could do this movie without answering every question, because remember the
You could.
Jedi.
Maybe.
I mean, one of the
I don't really have a
fundamental
lot of faith
things
in
that
them, but
I would at least hope is touched upon in the Rey movies is the fact that, because they built into it in The Last Jedi, that the Jedi Order wasn't working, and that's why it fell. That's why the whole Anakin prophecy thing had to come round in the first place. So if Rey's doing the Jedi Order now, it has to be done in a different way, you know, not with the same dogmatic rules. But when we go back to the original Jedis, we kind of have to see where they came up with those rules in the first place. Well, that's not really explained.
Well,
I'm not saying they won't do that, but I'm saying they could do that without explaining much of anything.
Even then, the way that I understand it is especially what we've seen in the High Republic stories, is Yoda changed the Jedi drastically from what it was prior to him becoming Grand Master. So we've already seen changes within the relatively recent history and canon of it. So again, we start getting muddied into, well, what are we telling? How we got to Yoda, or how we got to what we see in the High Republic, or you know what I'm saying? Like, their own story stuff is muddled, and that's why I don't need take me 1,000, 10,000 years, 50,000 years, whatever. Set us down in a story of knights versus dark knights, and have at it, man. Like, yeah, do that. We don't.
Yeah, I think we got it on that. I mean,
I think that's where Taika Waititi is trying to go, just develop his own thing, you know, in a different
I'm down. I'm down with that.
He keeps talking about trying to get the magic back of the originals as they were for him and stuff like that. Obviously, no details, and there's no guarantee his movie happens because he's still developing it. But Lucasfilm seem happy to give him time because he's so busy doing other things at the moment. He just develop it. So
they seemed happy to give a lot of people time until they go, oh yeah, we're not moving forward on that one. It's so hard. That's like the hardest thing to get excited about Star Wars, just like Shockey's thing about games, is you don't know what's actually coming next, except for some.
But that's not
Disney
just Star
Plus
Wars
stuff.
that's Disney as a whole. I mean, I think the entire company is going through a whole
they should have hired me a few years ago. I could have saved them all this heartache, man. I talked about this on the Daily Cog all the time.
Will it be better
Star Wars and all that?
Filoni in his new role.
Filoni's new role. Great segue there, Cam. I appreciate the assist on that one. Filoni's new role as Chief Creative Officer. I don't think this is the salvation some people want to make it out to be. But then again, like I said, I'm not a fan of Filoni's work and the cartoony style. And I really, really wish Clone Wars, and I know Lucas himself canonized and whatnot, but I really wish it wasn't, because it's Filoni's style, and I know some of it's George's style and writing credit, yada yada yada. It's too cartoony for me. It's too cartoony for what I view Star Wars as, which is that OT. Mando has some of it, Andor has some of it, but Andor has a lot of EU type stuff, but it's not cartoony on this level. I don't think he's the savior. I'm gonna say that. I'm no more excited now, because it kind of feels like, and I think he explains this. You guys can you guys can read some articles about all the stuff that we're discussing here today, including this story at lrmonline.com. But he's said, yeah, sure, I get to talk about story stuff whenever, but now I'm going to be in on the ground level from the get-go, and I just don't know if it doesn't really fill me with any more like joy, because I haven't really thought the stuff that he's been giving input on has been all that great. And we were told, allegedly or whatever, that like the stuff for Kenobi, and I know this isn't on him, but the stuff for Kenobi had all these different hands, and allegedly Filoni and Favreau, and even freaking Kevin Feige looked at that one, and it still turned out crap. So I have no faith because none of these names fill me with faith, man. None of them do. Mando season 3, trash. Ahsoka, god, boring. I don't know. How about you, dude? How do you feel, Shockey? You love this guy's stuff, and I'm not meaning that in like a
I get what you're saying on that.
Shitty way. You like it.
I think that this is a better role for him, right? So let's take a step back. Some of the best now, Clone Wars. It is what it is. Like when you go through Filoni style of storytelling, you get a lot of filler, where really his stories could be told, in the 7 seasons of Clone Wars, you probably could have done it in 3, and if you took all the best stories out of it. So where I see this kind of where it could go really well is let's go back all the way to Mando season 1, right? That was more Jon Favreau in control of the, and having the directors, and Filoni was just kind of the outside guy giving his input here and there when needed, right? And then season 2, he gets a writing or directing credit, and then he gets cast or writing credit as well. Then he's way more involved in season 3. Then it's Ahsoka. Not saying he's bad at directing and he's bad at writing and stuff, but I think he's kind of like what you've always said about Lucas. Lucas is a horrible director, a great vision guy, and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that...
And Lucas is also a terrible writer.
Yeah, right. He's a terrible writer. Right. Okay, so I think that's Filoni, right? If you think about it, the projects were, and the things that he just basically was the stand back, give the vision, let the directors, let the writers do it and stuff. There's been great stuff. Mando season 1 got everybody super excited. Remember, like that was post the sequel trilogy when I think toxic, or the Star Wars fandom was super toxic, and then it kind of calmed down.
Hated Rise of Skywalker, trash movie. Was very happy to watch Mando instead.
Right, and so I think if we can have Filoni be more of that, be more of the vision guy, help some directors out. Hey, you want to put the stormtroopers like this, or you want them to look like this, whatever, but not necessarily be the writer, not necessarily be the storyteller. Just kind of because he's the one who gets it. He was, handpicked by Lucas to continue the.
So was Kennedy. Handpicked, I mean.
Well, when he sold it to Disney, I'm talking about before.
It's all right.
Yeah, before he sold it to Disney and.
Talking his judgment call there.
I get it. But he did well with the Clone Wars. He did well with Star Wars Rebels. I think they got something right with Mandalorian, letting Favreau be the lead director, and lead executive producer, and just have Filoni step in here and there. I think that's going to be him with so many different projects that are in development. I think he's the guy that can finally get it there, instead of these announcements, hey, we got this and this, and then a quarter of them are the only things that get made. Maybe he's that guy to finally say, this is what you need, and just kind of spread his knowledge around, because we know that Kathleen Kennedy, as good as an executive producer she is in other things outside of Star Wars, she's not the Star Wars person to keep things on track. And so, maybe that's what Lucasfilm needs, is someone who truly understands, the story and everything about Star Wars, but not to be a director, not to be a writer, to put all the pressure on him. Because I think when I look at Ahsoka and I watch that, I think there was just so much pressure and so much hype going into it, because, some of these Star Wars fans think he's God or think he's Jesus, and he's not. Jesus. Yeah, Star Wars Jesus, no. Right? And he's not. And I there are some parts of Ahsoka that I love. I love the first 2 episodes. I liked, the Anakin flashbacks, or the whatever you want to call them. But then it just gets muddled. But that's after watching Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, I look back and I'm like, yeah, that is classic Filoni. You get so hyped up for some of these episodes of Clone Wars, and then you get a 3-episode arc of Chewbacca's cousin and stuff that we don't care about and everything. So, yeah,
gotta help that holiday special feel
exactly.
more
So,
in place with crap like that.
Yeah, we look at the history. We only really have Mando. Seasons 1, season 2, season 3 is kind of a wash. But like Book of Boba Fett, so that was a mistake. A lot of things on Disney Plus that were mistake, except for Tales of the Jedi, the anime version of
Visions
was cool and stuff.
Fun.
You got something there. You just need somebody that's going to lead the charge, and not necessarily like a Kevin Feige where it's like, here's the story and it has to follow this, but just hey, change this a little bit, or let's put this in here and stuff. And that's
Cam. Filoni did bring zombie stormtroopers, something that even in the EU I was not a fan of. How are you feeling about him being CCO here, man? Chief Creative Officer.
I guess maybe just to echo on what Shockey had said about that he could help. I mean, there's a lot of projects that at the moment they get so far and then they get kiboshed. And what he at least may be able to do by getting involved at an earlier stage is to put the kibosh on them quicker. To say this doesn't work, this isn't going to work. They don't have the right idea here. There's no point in taking this one any further, and that may help Lucasfilm to only announce the ones that they're really sure that they can kind of carry forward, because that's been a big issue.
Yeah. It's fair enough. Like I said, I don't have a lot of faith. I will see at least one episode of everything that's not animated because I don't care for the animated scene. I don't even like the way the animation looks in any of his stuff. Like, God, it's so ugly.
Sorry. You like the animation and that.
Well, I meant his, like Filoni. So Bad Batch, Rebels, and Clone Wars. But other than that, like, I'm going to see the first episode, at least of The Acolyte, and the first episode of Skeleton Crew. Whether or not I finish them, I don't know. The only thing that I know I plan on watching at least more than one of, although I do have fears it'll become a connection to Rebels to help it out. I don't know why, but Andor season 2, hopefully not. Hopefully it remains pure.
So there's no.
Sometimes I think you have to give these things more than one episode, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I said at least one. I said at least one.
Like, I never feel if I watch one, that's it. I won't watch any more.
No, generally you do the. Generally, you do the 3 episode rule, but these are also mini. They're not like a 22 episode or usually even a 12 episode thing. So 3 episodes is
That's
like half of Kenobi. So if I can get a gauge out of it in one, and I'm like, bump this, then sure, I'm out. I'm not going to waste my time anymore. We've talked a bit about what's coming in the future. 2 shows plus some animated stuff next year. Everything else 2025 and beyond. Andor season 2, Ahsoka, Mando season 4, and we've mentioned the movies and stuff like that. The 3 Waititis, Mangolds, and that would be the moment. Yeah. Mangold's
so
the Rey.
The Mangold movie.
And yep, there we go. Sorry. So I got it. Yep. Only one that we really get any like news from is the freaking Rey movie, and Cam and Shockey and over at LRMonline.com have gotten several stories up regarding this. There's been rumors about what's filming when. There's cast stuff going on. Cam, you've written these up, most of this stuff. What's going on with the Rey movie, man? Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we do know and what we think we know?
Less than it seems. So, I mean, what we know about it right now is that Stephen Knight was rewriting it, and presumably, probably, although not officially doing it, was doing it during the writer's strike. What we're hearing is that it's not necessarily that they've got a completed script yet, though. But there was some rumours that were started by Production List, who are not as good as Production Weekly. And sometimes people confuse them. Usually something appears in Production Weekly, you go, okay, that's happening. Production List just get things a bit wrong sometimes. So they said that this movie was going to start filming in April, and it became news. It got built up everywhere. But Star Wars Newsnet, who are a very reliable site for Star Wars news, because they don't do rumors and spoilers or anything like that. That's not what they do. So they have genuine connections into Lucasfilm and Star Wars in general. And so therefore, when they say, their sources say this isn't true, I think you have to believe it. So what they've heard is that the script still isn't finished yet, so they can't exactly plan exactly when it will happen, but it would be summer at the earliest. But the plan is probably 2024 for it to film, but you're looking at summer at the earliest, and that's pending scripts getting finished. The other aspect that we have, I don't know if this is too much of a story either, but Jeff Snyder at the Hot Mic has kind of had his finger on the pulse on this particular movie more than anybody else. If you remember back, it was really him that first broke the news of this, connected it with Damon Lindelof, that it would feature Rey. Then it was him that gave us the information about what was now changing, that Lindelof had left. So he definitely does have connections somewhere in this movie, and he was saying he thinks that there's been that there possibly has been some cast already signed up, maybe even pre-strikes, but there's just no announcement of them yet. I'm not sure about that, because I think it depends on what happens in the script, right? If the script comes back and it's different, who knows? The only person that we can guarantee that's in it is Daisy Ridley, because it seems as if she's pretty much agreed to come back. What I have heard on the grapevine is that there are two versions of the script at the moment. One, if John Boyega agrees to return, and one if he does not. Not a super solid rumour that at the moment. That could be old information, but that's kind of what the community thinks is the case at the moment. So it will probably be the next Star Wars film to film. It probably will start filming next year, but we don't really have any other cast other than Rey, whether they're signed or not, and at the moment we don't know when it will film, because the script isn't ready apparently.
Well, I think Boyega signing and agreeing to return would be a bigger draw than Rey at this time, and I think that would be a big benefit to the movie.
A lot of fans.
I don't know what they have to throw. That's what I'm
Rey
saying.
Training him, but he's the kind of main player, and Rey kind of
Luke
stays
Skywalker
in the background as the master
to the Obi-Wan for a moment, if you will.
So
I don't know whether they could pivot to that later though. Like, we could start with Rey establishing the Jedi Order, then we could get a John Boyega out having adventures as a Jedi movie. I don't know. But...
yeah. So if you guys remember, it was right around the beginning of the actor strike that there was I posted a story about that that Disney, and really Kathleen Kennedy are trying to amend their relationship with John Boyega, because they could see this idea of building a franchise, with Daisy Ridley and with him, into a new Star Wars, not necessarily trilogy, but just kind of a new era. Right. There you go. And stuff. And so because of the actor strike, it kind of slowed things down, but they were in kind of talks and in this process, and they were kind of laying things out. They wanted to try to do at Star Wars Celebration an announcement that he was going to be coming back as Finn and stuff, but it couldn't sign anything. The script is not necessarily two whole different scripts. It's just kind of one. Well, Finn is in it as a character, and if Boyega does not go along or does not sign back on and doesn't, then basically they just pivot that character into somebody else, and kind of change the direction of that character. They really wanted to be a Rey Finn scenario, not love interest or whatever, but just kind of just like those two kind of, like you have Luke and Han, and stuff, right. Just kind of that leading into the new era of Star Wars there. The April, what was it? April 4th, I think was it, the target date from production list. That was more from like I want to say 4 or 5 months ago, when they're kind of rumblings. yeah, the strike was in the height of it, and the plan was, because the writers were back writing, so they had, the script being written, and the plan is that if the actor strike was done before 2024, then we'll shoot for April. But things, of course, you shoot for these things, and they never come through. So that information probably came out from a memo a couple months back in Lucasfilm. Somebody shared it with production list, and production list ran with it, which is, is what it is. So, but yeah, I think summer is early. I would see more fall, winter is the realistic timeline, because the script is going through, not necessarily a major rehaul, but they want to make sure it's right, because you can't throw Rey back out for another Rise of Skywalker. This is basically what everyone at Lucasfilm was saying.
Different from what Lindelof was doing, because Rey was the Obi-Wan style character, and the leads were two other characters.
Yeah.
If Rey's back and she's younger, you'd expect her to take more of a lead now and maybe build to that later. So, it must be quite a bit different that they've had to, even if they've got some of the essential basic plot elements in place.
I think the Rey turning into the Kenobi aspect of it is kind of the tail end of the story they want to get to and stuff. So,
like I said, sometimes, and I'm not always as clear when I do it, but I try to be. When some of the things where I'll be like, oh, this doesn't make sense, or this is a bad idea, I'm always thinking of it, or not always, but generally thinking of it in a business sense. You know, when I talk Fantastic Four with the MCU, business wise, no matter how much it may upset people, the least rocky thing to do with a Fantastic Four would be to make it look like the comic. That means having the characters look relatively race and gender wise. Why? Because it's safe. Safe is business friendly. Like that's what I mean, and that's what I mean here. Regardless of how good Rey could be, she hasn't been. Regardless of how good a Rey and Finn story could be, we didn't get one to begin with.
I think Force Awakens, there was a lot of hype behind.
There was
that. I think if you can get to that, if you can get back to that.
Yeah, but the only reason the hype was there for that is we were coming off of the prequel trilogy, which, contrary to revisionist history, a lot of people were not big fans of. And then you get this one movie, which even without the failures of following through on anything, because they didn't follow through with it into 8 and then didn't follow through on 8 with anything in 9, 7 just it doesn't hold up as much, man. It loses a lot of luster.
I agree with you. As a movie, it doesn't hold up. But I think that if you go back to whenever Force Awakens came out, remember the all the promos you had. Finn and Rey on the posters. They were the main focus on the trailers. And then the
thing is,
I think that, and then the majority of the movie, they're together. They're
in China.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're actually, they have the ability to have some chemistry.
Yeah,
in the
I'm
first
not
movie
taking any of that
together.
away.
Yeah,
I'm saying
separating them after that in the next two movies.
I agree with you, Kyle. I'm just saying, I agree 100% with what you're saying, Kyle. I'm just saying, is if you can create that magic that they got from Force Awakens again, then okay, go for,
And you have to be able to do that with the trailers and marketing. And I just don't know if I would want to do that.
Agreed.
I would have wanted the next movie to be disconnected, to reintroduce people to the idea of something Star Wars theater again. I mean,
Star Wars on Broadway.
It was a shock, man, of how just rough the Rise of Skywalker was. And all of my fears I was like, man, they're going to waste so much time of this movie undoing episode 8.
And that's all they did.
And not have enough time to tell a fair ending. And not only did they spend time undoing episode 8, they undid the original trilogy while they were at it too, man. Like, holy shit!
Good old J.J. Abrams.
The best. I'll leave my mark on Star Wars so hard you'll never forget it.
Somehow Palpatine came back. We
Returns,
don't know
yeah.
how, but somehow.
No.
Somehow
Yeah,
the Death
it's so-
Star
I-
throne room was still there after plummeting at supersonic
And we couldn't
speeds
we
into a
couldn't visit
planet.
we couldn't visit a single prior existing OT world. We
Nope.
couldn't visit one.
You got Endor.
The Death Star, no, that was a different moon of Endor. That was like moon number 6. It wasn't even the
Yeah,
forest
it
moon.
wasn't
The forest moon.
Yeah,
It was the
wasn't
water
even-
moon of Endor.
Exactly,
the
and
Ewok
that's
one.
my point. It's like I got it. There's other bodies where parts of that giant thing are gonna fall, but why not go back? Like even if we don't have to see Ewoks, but see the treehouse. Like just make it feel
Right.
connected. You know?
No,
like,
I get it.
Come on, man.
Then you have the blade that magically like is
but the
put
one
out right where
planet-
the
You gotta line it
Well,
up,
well,
all Goonie
purpose.
style.
Tatooine.
Goonie style.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, you want to talk
Every
about
show
bad
seems to have to
ideas?
go to Tatooine. Every film seems to have to go to Tatooine at some point.
Yeah,
Sort of my
I
friends
don't
that
need-
aren't that
I
into
don't
Star
need
Wars have
Tatooine
pointed
to be
that
the
out.
one.
You need lots
I don't
of
need
sand.
Tatooine
Lots
to
and
be
lots
the,
of sand.
the one. Oh god, yeah. How many desert freaking planets?
I mean,
I
it's
got it,
got
there'd
some
be a
cool
lot of desert
visuals
planets
because
out there.
deserts
Yeah.
create cool
Mhm.
visuals, but you can
Yeah.
overuse
We've-
it. You know,
we've
there's
already
all
seen
these
it.
other planets.
We've already seen it. Yeah. And yeah, I don't need to go back to the same planets all the time, but if you're going to go to where something happened, why not revisit a place where it happened? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I want distance from everything Skywalker and Power. Like after Andor, I don't want to see the rebellion. I don't want to see the Empire. I don't want to see the New Republic. I want to get so far away from it all. Because I think that's what it needs. Either that or get
That's
into
kind of
some
a
really
plan,
small stories, small stories within. And I feel like we're going to probably try to spend more time than I would like in between 6 and 7.
Yeah, because you're gonna have the Ahsoka story, the Thrawn and Ezra story,
Mandalorians and all
the
that.
Mandalorian. Yeah, you unfortunately, Kyle, that the Disney Plus side of Star Wars is that it's right
That's
smack in
its
that.
era.
That's its era. You're gonna be hoping for the movies to get you out of
The
there.
movies should be the one. Well,
Yeah.
apart from the Filoni movie.
The Rey and
Well, we
Filoni
see.
Or
one, yeah.
Acolyte. That's it. Like Acolyte's
But
gonna
it's
be.
not really about
maybe.
the rebels, and it's kind of not really about the Empire. It depends where they go with it.
Right.
but,
Correct. Mhm.
You know, the Empire doesn't really come back. It kind of morphs into the First Order quite many years later. You know, if we go by when
That's not
where
many
we are
years.
at
It's
the
a
start of
little
Force
bit of
Awakens,
years.
but I know,
we'll see how
but
it
you
goes.
know, compared to where what I mean is compared to where this Filoni movie might end or where that Mandoverse goes, it's only ever going to get maybe a decade after Return of the Jedi. There's still another 20 years after that before you get to Hermit Luke, you know, and Ben Solo.
Yeah, well, we'll see, guys. We'll be here for it. Hopefully, you guys will come back and hear our opinions for it. It was a good episode coming back. Excuse me, here to the Cantina. I hope you guys join us again as we do this. Hopefully, we can get back into the swing of this being a more regular thing. So long as there's something to talk about. There's always something to talk about on. There you go. There's always something to talk about on LRMonline.com. So be sure to go there for all your entertainment news, needs, opinions, even celebrity interviews from the LRM YouTube channel. The GenreVerse YouTube channel has all sorts of content, anime and trailer reactions. I used to do some live stream stuff. Maybe I'll do it again. Merch, link in the description box below. All of our videos that aren't reaction videos go up on your favorite podcast apps in audio format. Shockey, anything else to say?
I think you covered it all. Let us know in the comments what you think about the state of Star Wars right now. Are you for it? Are you against it? We like to hear from what you guys say and see how crazy we are, or maybe not so crazy.
Yep. Cam.
Just check out LRMonline.com because we may not be doing Cantina every week, but we are writing stories every day. Myself, Shockey, sometimes Kel, you do as well from time to time, and a few other guests that come in, and we've got lots of interviews and loads of other stuff on there as well. And there's a new channel called GenreVerse Sports. Have a look.
Nice plug, Cam.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys can go listen to Cam and a few other guys talk soccer or football, as they like to
Whatever you
sillily
want to
call it. All right, guys, we'll talk to you next time. May the force be with you.